House progressives are working to cut the nation's child poverty rate by 2/3, reminding us once again, and I cannot say this enough, that poverty is in fact a policy choice. The trio of progressive US lawmakers on Thursday reintroduced legislation to help slash childhood poverty. Progressive US lawmakers, they are Reps Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, and Chuy, García. Wonderful trio, glad that they're doing this. The three are reviving the End Child Poverty Act, which was first introduced by Tlaib and then Representative Mondaire Jones in February of 2022. If passed and signed into law by President Joe Biden, the legislation would replace the child tax credit and the child provisions in the earned income tax credit with a universal child benefit paying families $393 per month per child. It estimates that the legislation would reduce US childhood poverty by 64% and deep child poverty, defined as living in a household with a total cash income below 50% of its poverty threshold, by 70%. Reporting coming from Common Dreams. Common Dreams is doing this thing. Thank you, Brett, for this. And a fact sheet released by Tlaib's office illustrated the following: because the program would be universal and include no income phase ins or phase outs, children in the US would be automatically enrolled at birth. Hello, somebody. And every family would receive a monthly payment for every child they are currently caring for until the age of 18 years old. Now, Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib tweeted the following: poverty is a policy choice. 1 in every 5 children in Michigan lives below the poverty line. I'm introducing the End Child Poverty Act to create a universal child assistance program and ensure that every child has the resources they need to thrive. And meanwhile, Rep. Omar stated the following on Twitter, or stated the following in an interview: in the midst of a devastating pandemic, President Biden and Democrats in Congress took drastic actions to help families in my district stay afloat, expanding life-changing benefits like Medicaid and SNAP, and expanding the child tax credit to finally benefit the most vulnerable among us. This action alone cut childhood poverty in half. And let me say this, Big Wise, let's put Big Wise up too, and glad that the representatives are weighing in, they're doing this. How you gonna do a good thing and then you snatch it back?
Yeah.
I mean, they taken away the so-called COVID emergency, which people are still living in an emergency. They did not expand the child tax credit. They didn't even keep it, Wise, they took it away. And so while I appreciate what Representative Ilhan Omar is saying, yeah, they did that, but then they took it back. And to me, there's something even more like deadly about giving somebody a benefit like that, giving their children a benefit like that, and then snatching it back and pretending like it didn't happen. But meanwhile, back at the ranch, you give the military industrial complex all the money they need, but we got starving children in hoods all over this country, whether they be rural hoods, urban hoods, or suburban hoods. Shame on the Democrats for allowing that to happen, and shame on the Republicans too, because the last time I checked, there are poor people in every state in this union. And at some point, Wise, we gotta rock with, this ain't about who on the red team, on the blue team. This is about who's on the team standing up for the people.
Well, absolutely, and obviously you hit the nail right on the head, and it kind of makes you wonder when Donald Trump and his regime could pass massive record-breaking tax cuts for the rich, for the people who are doing the best in our country and in our economy. However, when poor people get a break and children get lifted out of hunger and poverty, we gotta say, that's temporary. We don't need to keep that. We can't afford that. But the richest among us, they can have their tax cuts from now and in perpetuity. And I just think that it's awful. And the last thing I'll say is that obviously in this country, there's this individualistic sort of ethos that permeates the whole country, and this nonsense about bootstrapping. You would hope that we could spare young children from that crap.
Come on.
These people these young people who don't make a choice about what their circumstances are. I would hope that we would, make a world that these folks could eat and get to school and not be on an empty stomach and feel horrible every single day.
There it is, Waz, and we have covered, for the last 2 weeks, states that are either expanding universal meal programs, whether it's breakfast and or lunch or one or the other, in states in this country, and in states that are not expanding it at all. As a matter of fact, yesterday we did a story about North Dakota, where these mofos voted themselves extra money for meals, but then had the pure unadulterated gall to vote against a bill that would expand universal lunch to poor children in their states. I mean, this is the kind of scene, this is the kind of zeitgeist, if you will, unfortunately, that is permeating our country. And it is very selfish. Very, and a lot of these states, Wise, need to look. These voters need to look at themselves in the mirror, because they voted for these people. Not all, because obviously there was counter forces voting for other people, but by and large, these types of people have won these offices, and it's mainly GOP-led legislatures where this kind of foolishness is happening. And so I am so glad to see these progressive reps step up and reintroduce this legislation. They shouldn't have to do it, but I'm glad that they are. And then Rep. Omar, senior advisor Jeremy, tweeted the following: in the wake of the expanded child tax credit expiring, at Rashida Tlaib, at Ilhan, and at Chuy have a new bill to create a universal child benefit, $4,700 a year for every child, would cut child poverty by nearly 2/3. It's really good. And I agree with Jeremy. This is in fact really, really good. So look, sisters and brothers and family and friends, let me tell you what you can do here. You can send an email, a message in a bottle, smoke signals by train or by plane to your members of Congress. Go ahead and send them an email, baby. Write them an old-fashioned letter. Tweet at them, do something, pick up the phone and call. I know that's old fashioned, and let them know that they should support this bill that has been introduced by these representatives. And we need somebody in the Senate to take up the charge as well. If this country does not do this, all right? This is on all of our hands, that we have a country so callous that they will continue to watch children wallow in poverty. This policy that these 3 representatives are pushing is an opportunity to correct course. All right, America, family and friends, sisters and brothers, and even frenemies. Y'all go ahead and do that. And then while you're at it, give those 3 reps a thank you. Send a thank you to Tlaib and Garcia and Omar, because oftentimes people don't get thanked when they are on the right track.